In this video, I'm going to share with you 10 signs that you might have a leaky gut. You're probably on this video right now because you were searching, do I have a leaky gut, or what are the signs or symptoms associated with a leaky gut? So in this video, I'm going to share with you 10 signs that you might have a leaky gut. If you don't know who I am, my name is Brendan. I'm also known as the Gut Whisperer, and I fix guts. Period. I fix guts. All right, number one, being overweight. Being overweight leads to a lot of problems, especially chronic systemic inflammation. When the whole body is inflamed, it normally holds on to a lot of toxins as well as extra estrogens. And so when those compounds continuously start to add up, that creates even more inflammation throughout the body, making it more metabolically less flexible to start to really retain more and more fat. So that's what happens. It's also known as Syndrome X, or metabolic syndrome, or for the case of women, PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome. When individuals have extra body fat around their abdomen, elevated lipids within their blood, elevated blood sugar, increased levels of cortisol, excess levels of insulin without it being able to bind to the glucose and drive into the muscles, that leads to Syndrome X. What are the causes of it? Well, processed foods. Dysbiosis, having an imbalanced relationship of healthy bacteria to opportunistic or bad bacteria in your gut. That leads to a lot of digestive issues, gas, bloating, cramping. Now, the continued assault of foods, right? Processed foods, gluten, dairy, pop, sugars, these types of foods, seed oils, foods that are deep fried, these types of foods continuously have an assault on the gut, allowing more inflammation, more damage, creating more of an immune response, and it just gets more and more and more. And all of this adds up with, a low sedentary lifestyle. They're not moving a lot. They've got environmental factors that prevent them from maybe having access to a gym or their work or their friends, their relationships. A lot of these things add up, hence why it's very easy to add the weight, especially if you're not practicing this. So being overweight, if you are overweight, definitely you've got a leaky gut, 100%, because that excess weight compounds and has a direct assaulting relationship with your gut. Number two, brain fog. If you've got brain fog, if you're forgetting things, if you can't remember where you're putting things, if you're stumbling for words and you're like, man, what was that? What was that? That's brain fog. And if you've got brain fog, you've got inflammation in the brain. You've got these little micromolecules and undigested foods and environmental toxins that are essentially invading the blood-brain barrier, crossing into the brain, causing an immune response, causing inflammation in the brain, causing damage. And the immune system and the white blood cells, they're all trying to repair the brain. But at the same time, if you've got a leaky gut, you've got a leaky brain. And those things continuously add an assault, killing off brain cells, right? Gluten, dairy, processed foods, high sugars, cortisol, environmental toxins, and pathogens, all of those lead to systemic inflammation within the body and as well as inflammation in the brain. There's that gut-brain axis, right? So if you've got a compromised gut, you definitely have a compromised brain. So if you're dealing with these symptoms in your head, know that you've got a leaky gut for sure. Number three, white tongue. If you've got a white tongue, thrush, if you've got like a lot of ridges on your tongue or it's very swollen, it's very meaty, if your tongue doesn't look like a normal tongue, chances are you've got some nutrient deficiencies and you've got some dysbiosis happening in your gut. So this biofilm, this white biofilm, that's basically like a garden for yeast and pathogens to just reside. And that changes your eating habits, that changes the way you taste things, everything. Just know that if you've got thrush and that yeast, you've got a lot of yeast and a lot of thrush happening in your gut. So what you can see right now is just a small little portion of what's actually happening inside your gut. So again, white tongue, that's definitely a sign of leaky gut. Number four, heartburn. What causes heartburn? Well, fermenting foods, gas, right? Gas goes up, gas goes down. And so if you are experiencing heartburn, just know that A, you've got low levels of stomach acid. That's right, I said it. You've got low levels of stomach acid. You don't have a lot of pancreatic function or digestive juices breaking down those foods. As a result, you've got these undigested foods going into your stomach, they're causing gas, they're fermenting, they're putrefying. Again, they're causing gas, so that's going up, and that's pushing up what little stomach acid that you have into your esophagus, creating GERD, heartburn, acid reflux. So if you've got heartburn, just know that you're causing a lot of damage to the gut, and as well as those foods going down in the intestine, those are going to cause an assault on the tissue lining of the gut, because those undigested foods, they're kind of big, they're jagged, and they're going to cause these little micro tears in the gut lining, and that's going to cause some leaky gut. What causes acid reflux? Like I said, undigested foods, as well as FODMAP foods, sugars, carbs, food combining. Actually, believe it or not, being angry when you're eating. Anger is one of the worst things that you can do when you are eating. If you're angry, go for a walk, do some breathing, because anger completely disrupts and halts the digestive process. As well as low stomach acid, drinking with your meals, taking antacids, gum chewing, previous infection to H. pylori. All of those cause major disruption with the stomach acid as well as the gut. Number 5, bloating and gas. This kind of is obviously the same as heartburn, but not really. Some people just experience bloating and gas. Some people have this pouch in front of them, like a kangaroo pouch. Oftentimes, they don't even know if it's like fat or is it bloating, because they're so distended and they don't even recognize themselves. A lot of times it's bloating. So what causes the bloating? Again, these foods are essentially fermenting in your gut. And also, how often are you taking a poop? If you're not having 1 to 2 regular good poops every day, the fecal matter will continuously start to build up in your colon, and it'll add a lot of volume, and that will create a lot of bloating and gas as well. It's something called autointoxication. What happens is your body starts to absorb slowly the fecal matter, and that's causing a major reaction to your immune system. The body's starting to get more toxic because it's absorbing all of those toxins that should be being eliminated. So if you're not taking regular bowel movements, 1 to 2 a day, you've got a leaky gut, as well as some motility issues. So there we go. That leads me right down into constipation and diarrhea. So there's definitely a relationship with the parasympathetic and sympathetic autonomics within your body. How you perceive things, if you're super stressed, or if you're being completely overly supported and you're just getting life handed to you, oftentimes your body, not oftentimes, every time basically, your body will beautifully demonstrate what's going on with your psyche. And if you're continuously fluctuating between constipation and diarrhea, more times than not, you're perceiving things to be sort of in the way and you're very stressed. You've got a lot of resentment. Maybe you're not letting go of things, and that is a representation of what's going on with your colon, not being able to let it go of things, and then all of a sudden it's just a fast elimination. So if you've got constipation and diarrhea, that's going to put a major strain on your gut. All right, going to number 7. Depression, anxiety, fibro, fatigue, insomnia. If you are continuously in a state of anger, depression, anxiousness, there's definitely a relationship with the gut-brain relationship and the gut-brain axis. A lot of these neurotransmitters, these brain chemicals, are actually produced in the gut. And again, based on how you perceive life and events, is obviously going to dictate your autonomics, and that autonomics is going to dictate the HPA, so the hypothalamus, pituitary, and adrenaline axis. So if you're continuously in a state of stress and you're perceiving things very stressful, your brain is going to accommodate to those perceived threats and make stress hormones. So if you're continuously anxious, your brain will respond accordingly and make anxious hormones and keep you alert. So your body's physiology is beautifully demonstrating what's going on in your psyche, as well as what's going on in your gut. Again, neurotransmitters, serotonin, dopamine, largely produced in the gut. So if you have an imbalanced ratio of, again, beneficial bacteria to pathogenic bacteria, chances are you're going to have an imbalanced relationship or an imbalanced level of neurotransmitters. So also, one of the big ones is glutamate and GABA. Glutamate is a neuroexcitatory hormone. GABA is a relaxatory hormone. So most people, they've got too much glutamate, not enough GABA. Fight or flight, right? Freeze response. So supplementing with GABA is a great idea, especially if you're not sleeping too well, or if you've got anxiousness, or if you've got rage, sadness. Also, one more point here, cortisol. If you've got too much cortisol, that's going to seriously create a lot of systemic inflammation. Inflammation causes mood disorders, increased levels of pain, low energy, even the ability to make a conscious decision if you want to invest in something or if you want to do something with business. If you're in a chronic elevation of stress and anxiety and anxiousness and depression and your body's not performing the way that you want it to, it's going to make it very, very hard on you to make a decision because you've got all of this weight on your shoulders. So if you've got these symptoms, if you've got so low energy and it's hard to make a decision, you're anxious, you've got a leaky gut. And so the food, of course, but also the dysbiosis in your gut, it's addressing that. Number 8, any autoimmune disease. Any autoimmune disease is an expression of a leaky gut because you've got these ongoing things invading. Pathogens, I say things, but pathogens, undigested foods, environmental toxins, they're essentially going through the cellular level of the gut. And these compounds, these molecules, these proteins, these pathogens, they're going into the systemic bloodstream and they're being distributed all throughout the body. And the immune system is responding accordingly. It's seeing these as foreign invaders and it's attacking. And at the same time, some of these compounds are latching onto, for example, rheumatoid arthritis. It's found like casein protein molecules tend to group in the joints of people. There's findings though that they consume dairy. We're just going to get rid of that. Autoimmune conditions. Any autoimmune condition is an expression of leaky gut, and here's why. When you've got intestinal permeability, you've got these compounds, pathogens, viruses, bacteria, food, undigested foods, food additives, plastics, metals, they're essentially invading, going into the systemic bloodstream via the cells that line the gut because they're damaged. And now all of a sudden, these compounds and pathogens are floating in the systemic bloodstream and the immune system is launching an attack on them. At the same time, some of these compounds are grouping and sort of coagulating within some of the tissues of the body, sometimes the joints, sometimes the thyroid, sometimes the adrenaline glands, the brain, your testes, breast tissue, it doesn't matter. Wherever these compounds want to latch on, generally it's in the weakest link of your genetics. But what happens is these compounds, these molecules, these proteins latch onto the neighboring tissue. And so the body not only is trying to attack those and get rid of those pathogens, but it's also attacking the neighboring tissue because it's damaging the neighboring tissue and it's trying to repair that to eliminate that tissue. And that's where the autoimmune sort of response and attack starts to perpetuate. So if you've got an autoimmune disease, you definitely have a leaky gut, and it's wise to follow the 4 R's and completely rehabilitate your gut to reseal the lining of the gut, eliminate that assault, whatever that assault is. Usually it's in the form of food and environmental toxins and things of that nature, and let the body heal, let the gut heal, let that immune system start to calm down. Number 9, acne, eczema, psoriasis. Your skin is an outlet for what's going on the inside. Again, I'm going to say that again. Your skin is a representation, it's an outlet of what's happening on the inside of your gut, and it's being displayed on the surface of your skin. So if you've got skin issues, psoriasis, eczema, acne, rashes, hives, histamine hives, that means you've definitely got a leaky gut and you've got a buildup of toxins, there's an imbalanced ratio of hormones, and your skin is just taking the brunt of it and it's expressing what's going on. So your skin is beautifully demonstrating feedback to show you signs. It's literally like a stop sign on the highway saying, hey, stop here. What you're doing, you're going to go the wrong way, for example. Your skin is beautifully demonstrating what's going on. So if you've got skin issues, you've got a leaky gut, it's time to address your gut. That's the root cause. And then finally, SIBO, IBS, IBD, diverticulitis. These are all inflammation conditions of the gut and autoimmune conditions of the gut. If you've got bowel issues, we know that it starts upstream with the stomach and even chewing habits. So if you've got irritable bowel syndrome, this is just a fancy term for idiopathic. Doctors, idiopathic meaning I don't know what that means. I don't know what's causing it. So they just put a label on it. IBD, IBS, all these conditions, it's all dysbiosis, right? So it's an imbalanced ratio of bacteria in the gut. Low stomach acid, low pancreatic function, probably sludgy bile produced by a toxic liver that's overworked and underfunctioning. As well, a highly suppressed immune system. The immune system is probably so tired it can't do what it needs to be doing, and so it's overtaxed, overburdened. The body's probably overburdened with a whole bunch of toxins. And so the result is just inconsistent bowel movements, pain, IBS, IBD. The whole body's inflamed. The whole body is literally damaged. You've got all these micro tears and the body's just fast elimination, painful eliminations. If you've got any of these conditions, you definitely have a leaky gut as well. All of these. If you've got one or two, you've got leaky gut. And if you don't address this, things are going to get worse and worse and worse and worse. That's how autoimmune conditions get worse and worse and worse. And usually they come in more than pairs. If you've got one autoimmune condition, I guarantee you it will lead to more conditions if you don't stop what you're doing right now. Again, your body is beautifully demonstrating feedback, trying to get you to stop what you're doing, have some reflective awareness, as the famous German philosopher Wilhelm Wundt says, and time to figure out what's going on and change course. If you're interested, that's what I do. I fix guts. I fix guts. I'm called the Gut Whisperer, and I've got a 5-week program where I completely rehabilitate one's guts. I am yet to see any person online address the stomach, the pancreas, the liver, the gallbladder, the immune system the way that I do. I've helped thousands of people around the world. I work completely online. It is a very easy program to follow, very, very methodical. I hold your hand every step of the way, and you can rehabilitate your hormones, you can lose some weight, get rid of your systemic inflammation, get rid of all these symptoms. If you've got skin issues, again, it always starts with the gut. If you found this video valuable, I hope you did. It was kind of long. Hit a like, hit a subscribe. Stay tuned for more. Share this with someone. Leave a comment. And if you're interested in working with me, I've got a live free webinar. Just click the link below. You can watch that, register. It's free. And if you want to work with me, then just follow the instructions, and then I can get to working with you to fix your gut. One-on-one, 5 weeks, guaranteed. All right? Gut Whisperer out.